Hello, welcome to the final week of the course. In this lecture, we will review the defining components of structured literacy. This week, you read the final chapter in the Moats 2020 text. In this final chapter, Dr. Moats revisits the tenets of structured literacy, outlines a structured literacy lesson plan, discusses the importance of understanding the phases of reading and spelling development when planning lessons, and summarizes the big ideas discussed in her book. We will return to this book throughout the Reading Science program as we apply the science of reading to the creation of lesson plans and activities to teach phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, and written expression. As I said at the start of this course, in this course her book is used to help you understand the big picture of reading science and how to teach reading using a structured, explicit approach, not to yet go deep into understanding each component. That comes next. This book, along with others, will be used in RDG 540, Fluency and Comprehension, RDG 530, Phonics and Linguistics, and RDG 532, Advanced Phonics and Linguistics. It may also be helpful in other reading science courses. I myself have read this book many times, all 3 editions, and refer to it often. Structured literacy is an umbrella term adopted by the International Dyslexia Association. It is not noting one specific program or method, but rather the term that is used shorthand to describe an approach that explicitly utilizes scientifically based instructional components that works best for students who need instruction. Those children who do not simply pick up reading from incidental teaching and enriching environments. This is most of us humans. Remember, reading is not natural. Also, remember the NAEP data. Other terms used in the past to note the same kind of instruction include multisensory structured language, and literacy instruction. Structured literacy refers to the scientific basis for both the content, what is taught, and the delivery, how is taught. Structured literacy instruction is delivered very purposefully with clear goals in mind. Instruction is mapped out to leave nothing to chance and maximize student engagement and understanding. Let's look at each component. As Moats explains, quote, explicit instruction means the teacher tells the student what she wants the student to know. She explains a concept concisely and directly, demonstrates its use, I do, supports students through initial application, we do, and then provides practice exercises, you do, end quote. Explicit instruction uses instructional routines that the children become familiar with, so learning can focus on the new content rather than the teacher's directions and explanations. Instruction is briskly paced and lots of practice with corrective feedback and active responding of students. Discovery learning is de-emphasized for new information. Discovery learning is used when students have mastered a skill and are ready to apply it in novel ways, rather than be frustrated to discover something that they need to be taught. Systematic and cumulative instruction means that there is a clear and purposely chosen scope and sequence of skills that are taught with the prescribed order carefully building on earlier elements, building first easier skills and moving towards more complex skills. There is also lots of built-in review to make sure earlier skills are appropriately connected to more difficult skills and mastery is achieved. Structured literacy uses multimodal instruction to fully engage students in skill development. Things such as hand gestures, manipulating tiles or other objects, movements, writing using different materials, for example, a rice tray, a pencil, writing in the air, choral and individual responding, etc. These are all examples. Multimodal, sometimes called multisensory, instruction helps to keep students focused and engaged and also helps with memory. Assessment is key in structured literacy. Formal assessments help to understand student needs, diagnostic assessment, and to see if the instruction is working, progress monitoring. Ongoing assessment is used to adjust the instruction based on student needs, being responsive to how the child is responding to instruction. This is the core of RTI. Within a lesson, multiple layers of language are skillfully woven together. We work on all parts of the reading rope. Which brings us to the content that is focused on in structured literacy. Structured literacy is about what is taught as well as how it is taught. The content, the what, includes all aspects of language: phonological processing and phonemic awareness, phoneme graphing correspondences, phonics, syllabification and morphology, automatic, fluent word recognition, word meanings, vocabulary, sentence comprehension and sentence formulation, language and text comprehension. The specifics of what is taught in a given area of language is dictated by the child's phase of reading and spelling development. Moats provides a number of excellent examples in Chapter 8 of what instruction would look like for pre-alphabetic learners, early alphabetic, later alphabetic, and consolidated learners. Part of teaching the content, of course, is having teachers who know this content well and know how to deliver it. One of the key points that Dr. Moats makes in her book, and her work in general, is that a teacher's knowledge is crucial. Remember her article at the beginning of the course, Teaching Reading is Rocket Science. We need good instructional materials to guide our work, but programs are never perfect and could never take the place of a knowledgeable teacher that is responsive to the children in front of them. Teachers need a depth of knowledge about both the why and how of instruction. On page 258 in Table 8.2, Dr. Moats outlines a sample generic lesson format for foundational reading skills instruction, typical first grade lesson. Take a look at this and think about how this might differ from a typical first grade reading group using a guided reading approach, which is often seen in schools, where children read a leveled book together, guided by their teacher. Think about this structured literacy lesson format as you watch the next set of brief videos featuring Dr. Carol Tolman explaining the Tolman hourglass figure on page 259 of the Moats text and its connection to the four-pot processor model discussed in week 4. Dr. Tolman shows us how structured instruction is carefully building the reading circuits in young brains. Dr. Tolman will focus on how we build word recognition skills. But remember, the model also instructs us on how we build language comprehension skills and how all parts of reading are interconnected and best taught through an explicit, systematic approach, structured literacy.